In episode 2, we look at how the ballot became a battlefield.
After freedom, our people fought for a voice in this country.
But every step forward was met with fear, violence, and laws meant to push us back.
This is a story about power, resistance, and the price of democracy.
Let's get into it.
In September 1868, in Louisiana, Black voters learned that the ballot could be powerful enough to get a person killed. Not because the ballot was violent, not because a meeting was dangerous, not because a newspaper article was a weapon, but because Black political power threatened everything white supremacy was trying to restore after slavery. The Civil War had ended. The Reconstruction amendments were beginning to reshape the law. Black men were voting, attending meetings, reading newspapers, organizing with Republicans, and learning the machinery of public power. That was the success. White terror came to interrupt it. This is interrupted success. Episode 2. The ballot became a battlefield. In September 1868, St. Landry Parish, Louisiana, was not just arguing over candidates. It was arguing over whether Black people were allowed to have politics at all. Black voters and Black Republicans had begun organizing. Meetings were happening. Newspapers mattered. Registration mattered. Speeches mattered. For people only a few years out of slavery, this was a new kind of power. The ballot had become a tool, and the public meeting had become a schoolhouse for citizenship. White Democrats understood the danger. If Black men voted in numbers, the old rulers could lose sheriffs, judges, parish offices, and state power. If Black voters organized, white supremacy would have to compete instead of command. That was unacceptable to men who believed government belonged to them. The violence grew after Republican activity and the attack on Emerson Bentley, a white Republican newspaper editor. Rumors moved through the parish. White vigilantes used the moment to launch terror against Black Republicans and Black residents. Black people were hunted and killed. Many fled or hid. Political organizing was shattered. The violence was so effective that Republican voting collapsed in the area afterward. That tells the truth. The massacre did not just express hatred, it did political work. The story they tried to sell was that Black disorder and Republican agitation caused the trouble. But the truth shows something else. Opelousas was voter suppression through mass violence. Black political organization was the threat. White terror was the weapon. What was interrupted? Black voting strength. Black Republican organizing, freedom of political speech, Reconstruction democracy in the parish. Days later, in Georgia, Black citizens and Republican supporters walked toward Camilla for a political rally. That walk was the story. They were not hiding. They were not asking permission to be invisible. They were moving in public toward a gathering where speeches would be made and political power would be practiced. For people recently enslaved, the road itself had become a stage of citizenship. White authorities and armed white residents did not see citizens. They saw a threat. The marchers came toward town. The white power structure tried to stop, control, or intimidate them. Then gunfire broke out. Black participants were killed and wounded. As people fled, the danger followed. A rally had not even fully become a rally before the message was sent. Do not gather. Do not march. Do not come into town as citizens. Do not believe your new rights will protect you. The story they tried to sell was that the marchers were dangerous and disorderly. The truth shows that Black political participation itself was treated as a threat. What was interrupted? The right to assemble, the right to campaign, the right to walk toward a rally safely. Black civic confidence. Democracy is not only the vote, it is the road to the meeting. It is whether a citizen can travel to a political rally and return home alive. On Easter Sunday, April 13th, 1873, black men in Colfax, Louisiana, gathered around a courthouse because an election had become a battlefield. The courthouse was not just a building. It held the meaning of local government. It represented records, authority, law, and the outcome of Reconstruction politics. Black citizens had voted. Their votes mattered. Now, white Democrats wanted control, and black Republicans understood that if the courthouse fell, the election could be made meaningless. So they defended it. White paramilitary forces advanced. Fighting broke out. The black defenders were outgunned and overwhelmed. Some died in combat. Many more were killed after surrendering or being captured. That is the part the word battle cannot cover. When men surrender and are still killed, the event has moved beyond fighting. It has become massacre. The story they tried to sell softened Colfax into a riot or clash between armed sides. But the truth shows organized racial terror aimed at crushing black political power. Black citizens were defending Reconstruction government and election results. White paramilitary violence destroyed that defense. What was interrupted? Black electoral power, local Reconstruction government, trust in law, the federal promise of protection. The aftermath reached the Supreme Court in United States versus Cruikshank, where federal power to prosecute private racial violence was weakened. That legal retreat told white terror something deadly. The national government might not come. In July 1876, in Hamburg, South Carolina, black militia members stood in a town that had become a symbol of Reconstruction's promise and white supremacy's rage. A black militia was not just a group of men with guns. It represented lawful black authority, black men drilling publicly, black men attached to government, black men refusing to shrink. White red shirts and armed white supremacists wanted that image broken. A confrontation was used as the excuse. White men demanded submission and disarmament. The situation escalated. Armed white forces surrounded black militia members. Black men were captured, humiliated, and murdered. The killings were not only punishment, they were theater. White terror wanted an audience. It wanted black voters across South Carolina to hear what happened in Hamburg and think twice before standing tall at the polls. The story they tried to sell was that Hamburg was about public order and black militia danger. The truth shows political violence designed to intimidate black voters and break Reconstruction authority. What was interrupted? Black lawful authority. Black voter confidence. Reconstruction power in South Carolina. The possibility of black men being publicly armed, organized, and legitimate. Hamburg helped set the tone for the violent 1876 election season. It was one more step toward the end of Reconstruction. Opelousas, Camilla, Colfax, Hamburg, 4 places, one pattern. Black people were building political power. White terror moved to interrupt it. In Opelousas, terror crushed Republican organizing and changed the voting landscape. In Camilla, a march toward a rally became a killing ground. In Colfax, black citizens defended a courthouse and were massacred. In Hamburg, black lawful authority was humiliated and murdered before an election. This was not random violence. This was a campaign against black democracy. The ballot became a battlefield because white supremacy understood what the ballot could do. It could change who made the law. It could change who enforced the law. It could change schools, taxes, juries, roads, sheriffs, judges, land policy, and labor policy. That is why the violence came. Not because black people were powerless, because they were becoming powerful. In the next episode, The story moves from Reconstruction terror into the turn of the 20th century,
That was powerful.
where black political coalitions,
became more than a
black
vote.
business growth,
It became a
and black
fight for
land
dignity,
ownership were attacked with
safety,
new
and
levels
a
of
voice.
organization.
They used fear, violence, and laws to push our people back.
But our people kept standing, kept organizing, and kept moving forward.
Thank you for watching.
We hope this episode gave you something to think about and carry with you.
Until next time.
Take care.